Last month, Indonesia's People's Consultative Assembly elected a Muslim political leader to be the country's next president. Abdul Rahman Wahid replaced B.J. Habibie, who was appointed last year when President Suharto resigned after more than 30 years as Indonesia's ruler. The National Assembly chose Wahid to be president 6 months after the country's first freely contested and fair elections in 54 years of independence. The winner in the popular election was Megawati Soekarno-Putri, daughter of Indonesia's first president, Sukarno. When the assembly rejected Megawati, heavy rioting began in the capital Jakarta and on the island of Bali, a Megawati stronghold. Then, in a dramatic surprise, the new president named Megawati as his vice president. His choice was ratified by the parliament, this time setting off happy gatherings. Wahid is 59 and frail. He's had 2 strokes and is almost blind. If he cannot fulfill his 5-year term, Megawati would become president. The new leaders take over a country torn by political and economic troubles. Indonesia's troops came home in humiliation from the 24-year occupation of East Timor, and some generals could face war crimes indictments after violence that racked the island after the vote for independence. Hundreds of East Timorese were killed, tens of thousands more were scattered and left homeless, and the territory is a charred ruin. The United States suspended aid and broke military ties with Indonesia in September. United Nations peacekeepers are now in place to maintain order on East Timor, and the island is now formally under UN control. But even as Indonesia was dealing with the loss of East Timor, a former Portuguese colony, it faced insurrection in other provinces, like ethnically distinct Aceh and Irian Jaya. This week, President Wahid raised the possibility of a Timor-style referendum on the future of Aceh, one of the richest parts of Indonesia, and that provoked pro-independence demonstrations and outbreaks of violence. 2 weeks ago, Wahid unveiled what he called a national unity cabinet. The 35-member cabinet includes Indonesia's first civilian defense minister since the 1950s. Indonesia's former defense minister, General Wiranto, a key figure of the old regime, was given a lesser post in the new administration. Despite Wahid's efforts at compromise and inclusion, the announcement of the coalition government did not lift Indonesian financial markets. The nation of 210 million had seen millions rise from poverty to middle class, only to fall back into poverty during the financial crisis of 1997. The new government faces demands from international organizations and lenders to reform its banks and other financial institutions, many of them accused of crony capitalism during the Suharto era. Rebuilding the economy and repatriating refugees back to East Timor were the 2 main issues Wahid and President Clinton discussed in their hour conversation at the White House earlier today.